waited to start filming because when I left, it was so dark, and I was like, y'all are not going to be able to see me. So at least now there's a little light, and you can see me. But I'm headed in. I am a little tired, but nevertheless, we're going into work. Earlier this week, I had a day where I was sad. Kind of, my thoughts were a little all over the place because it was my baby brother's birthday. So why would that make me sad? I am the middle child of 5. We lost the oldest. I was born on his birthday. And then we lost the youngest. We lost the youngest first. He died shortly after his 4th birthday. And from complications of cancer. And my oldest brother passed away on Mother's Day several years ago. So it's hard on my mom. It took her a while to be able to really want to celebrate. She didn't have anything against me, but if you're a parent, process the idea of losing 2 children, and then one of them on Mother's Day. And then you have a living child who was born on the birthday of one of the children that passed away. So, for years, it was very difficult for her. And all I wanted to do, is, try to comfort my mom. But it's hard. It's like there really isn't a whole lot that you could do when you're in a situation like that. No parent wants to bury their child. And I'm not going to stay on this too long because I know sometimes my mom watches my videos. Hey, Mom. And I love her so much. And my heart just goes out to her. And I really don't talk a lot. If she brings it up, we talk about, different things, memories and stuff like that. But I don't talk about it a lot because I don't like to see her sad. So this week, the weird thing is, when it came around, it's not that I forgot his birthday. I didn't even realize what day it was. Like, when I realized the day, I was like, oh, crap, And so I made a post on Facebook. And, it was bittersweet because the bitter part is that he's not here anymore. The sweet part is that, he would have been 50 years old. And my brother was very, he was just the sweetest thing. And he had this way about him, very smart for his age. And he used to suck his fingers. And so if you read my post, and I said, happy heavenly birthday, and I mentioned his chocolate fingers, it's because he used to always suck on his fingers. So, anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. It was just, I just had a moment this week that wasn't very, it was a little difficult for me to get through, but I managed. It did help that my mom texted me, and I just reassured her that she is an awesome woman and that she's, one of the strongest women that I know, and that I'm always here for her. So, but other than that, my God family had a loss. My God sisters, my God family, it's my godmother, my God sister, my God brother. My God sister and brother, I grew up with them, from almost instantly from the time I got here to Houston. I wasn't quite 9 years old, and we did the slumber parties and the birthday parties and the get-togethers and the movies and all this sort of thing. And we were just raised very tight. And they had a cousin who always, hung around with us. And she was just, oh my goodness, she was just the sweetest soul. And as we grew up, obviously, everybody kind of went their own way. We lost contact, stuff like that. And it was the same with their cousin. And I don't remember how she and I reconnected, but some kind of way we reconnected. And it wasn't planned. It was just, we happened to somehow reconnected. And she was just as sweet then as I remember her being when we were younger. And she always had this beautiful smile. Just beautiful smile. Kind of soft-spoken, but not in a timid way. She just didn't. The loudest you ever heard her is when she laughed. Like, she laughed when we laughed and talked and played, but just generally in her speaking voice, she wasn't a loud person, Anyway, unfortunately, she passed away, and her mom posted the news on Facebook. And when she posted it, I didn't see her name because her mom, she has 2 daughters. And I didn't see the name, and so I messaged her and I was like, Auntie, who passed? She didn't message me back. So what I did, because I was worried about bothering her, you just lost your daughter. So I texted my godbrother and I was like, who passed? And he told me, and I was just like in total disbelief. I went back and read her message and I was like, oh, she said who passed. I don't know if she edited the post or if I just missed it or what. But I was just even now I'm still kind of in shock because she was young. And so, I was the oldest, and then it was my sister behind me, my god sister, and then her cousin. That's how we fell in age. And I was just completely, I don't know, I just, just in disbelief. So anyway, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because they're laying her to rest tomorrow. And so I'll be there. And I reassured my godmother, that I was coming. I had an event that I was supposed to be attending as a vendor. And I had to contact the event, the host, and tell her what was going on and ask her, I didn't ask for a refund. I just asked to put the vendor fee towards the next event. Which unfortunately it won't be until next month, but so I'll be there tomorrow. So I started thinking about this yesterday, and I was just like, we as humans, we do all sorts of things throughout the day. We don't really think about, you can't live your life like that anyway, but you don't really think about, if that's the last time you're going to see this person or, stuff like that, because, things happen, and, sometimes they happen and you're prepared, by way of saying, if a person is sick, eventually, they won't be here anymore. And then sometimes, stuff happens and it's just kind of random. And so I say that to say, because I was talking to somebody about, they had a loss as well. And she was on autopilot, like just on autopilot. And I think that that's how I was when my dad passed, because there was so much that had to be done. My sister was just a mess. My brother wasn't here. And, my uncle and aunt, his brother and his brother's wife, they kind of took the lead or whatever. And I, of course, my mindset was, she's falling apart. I can't, be in that mindset, right now because I need to make sure that she's okay and make sure everything gets done. You know, so you're just kind of on autopilot doing things. And so that's how my friend was. And, you know, she was saying that she's not even 100% sure if he still dealt with it, because she's still kind of walking around on autopilot, and it's been a while. So I say that to say, you know, you have people in your life that you look at them and you say, oh, they're strong, you know, they'll get through it, you know, whatever. Check on your people. Check on your people. I'm not telling you something that I heard. I'm telling you something that I lived through. Because this happened to me on 3 separate occasions where I was just on autopilot. And, you know, because my mindset, you know, in a situation like that is always, you know, I have to be strong. I have to be strong. I have to be strong. I have to be the strong one. Because in most situations that you know, I find myself in dealing with friends and family, that's the position that I've somehow found myself in, is that I'm the one that's the strongest. That's not bragging. That's just, for some reason, my brain, when I'm dealing with trauma or, you know, just situations where you have to think, and that's just my personality. If I have to think about anything, you know, taking care of business, my brain does that first. And it's not to say that I don't feel something. I do feel something, but for some reason my brain automatically represses those feelings long enough for me to be able to do the things that need to be done. But I tell you this because every time that has happened, when I have least expected it, I break down. And sometimes it's, you know, it's gonna happen. It is inevitable that your strong family member, your strong friend, the one who appears to have it all together, you know, she's doing well, blah, 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 whether they are alone in public with someone in the privacy of their home or in the privacy of some building or whatever, in a car, it doesn't matter where they are. They cannot predict when the reality of what they are experiencing will hit home. And I pray that whoever this is for, because I don't know who this is for, I pray that if you are that strong person going through something, either going through something right now or have gone through something recently, or even if you've gone through something a while ago and you still have not dealt with that, make sure that you are always, as often as possible, surrounded by people that love you, so that when that moment comes, you have somebody that will hold you down, hold you up, somebody that will be there to catch you. Because I'm telling you, like I said, it's been happening to me 3 times. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, all 3 times that it has happened to me, my husband has been there. My husband has been there. And I'm telling you, one time it happened, and he and I were, I think we were upstairs. This when we were we were living in a different place. But we were upstairs in the bed watching TV. And we were just having a conversation, like, might have been like during a commercial or something. And the conversation wasn't about anything that I had gone through. It wasn't about anything in particular. We were just, you know, chit-chatting. Might have been about whatever we was watching. And all of a sudden, this overwhelming feeling of sadness came over me. And I tell you, it felt like that's when the mourning process, like when I say 1,000% kicked in, because it was as if I had just got the news. But it was too much. I cried so hard that by the time it was all said, when I finally stopped crying, it was hours later, and I had the worst headache. I couldn't hardly breathe from all the snotting and carrying on. And it was just a horrible feeling. But once that release finally came, it felt like a weight had been lifted off of me. I'm not saying I wasn't sad anymore, but the heaviness of what I was feeling, it was gone. You know, and one of the times that this happened to me, it was because my son had just gone to the military. He had, he went to boot camp, and I found myself running back and forth. I'm carrying my cell phone because they could only call at certain times, and they could only be on the phone for, short periods of time. And most of our contact was, writing letters and stuff. And so the way that the military works, because, their objective is for you to succeed and, graduate from boot camp and, go to school and then be assigned to your first duty station and all that. My son was having trouble because he injured himself. And eventually, he requested that they send him home. I wish he hadn't done that because he actually needed to have surgery, and they were going to do the surgery, and he was going to do a modified, because there was only one portion of the training left, and that was him running, because he had done everything else, the swimming and all that stuff. But they were going to do a modified PT for him to be able to graduate from boot camp and, move on to the next phase and all that. And he got anxious and antsy, and he just, laying there trying to heal and all that kind of stuff, and he just was done. He was just, but before that, when they were, he was struggling on one, before he hurt himself, he was struggling on one portion of the test. I can't remember what it was, but the person that is responsible for making sure that they're okay, and I don't know what the title is, the rank and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. They pulled him into the office because the people that was working with him let him. Oh, how did I manage to get all the way over here? I got over too far. I thought I was in the wrong lane. But anyway, it got reported that he was having trouble, and they brought him in and had him call home. And before he got on the phone, the guy was talking to me, and his dad was saying, we really need you to talk to him because he's not in a good headspace right now. And it kind of scared me because I thought he was trying to say he was, depressed, maybe threatening to hurt himself or something like that. He was just saying he didn't want, as he kept talking, I got it. He was just saying he didn't want him to fail boot camp. And he was trying to kind of keep him, out of his head and things like that. So anyway, I got on the phone. My son got on the phone, and I talked to him and stuff. His dad talked to him or whatever. So anyway, basically the reason I'm telling you this story is because at some point, since my kids have never been away from me, and I have not been able to, talk to them and stuff like that. My mom used to always send for my kids, during the holidays, over the summer, stuff like that. And she'd take them to Disney World and, different places. She did stuff with all the grandkids. That's just how she was. But I've always been able to talk to them, and I didn't worry about them and stuff like that. So here he is, then graduated from high school, and he done went off to the military, and this is a whole nother situation. I can't pick up the phone and call my baby or nothing. I just have to wait until the military say I can talk to him. I was so worried. I wasn't worried that something would happen to him, but as a parent, I was missing my baby. I was worried. I had all this stuff going through me. And I remember my husband saying, because I was telling him, I'm all right. I'm all right. And I remember my husband saying, when you least expect it, it's going to hit you. And I said, what? He said, the fact that he's gone, and it's not like he's not coming back, but, it's going to really sink in. So let me back up just a little bit. The day that he left, I remember it like it was yesterday, because we got up and they had to go to what used to be the Astro Village Hotel. I think it's called the Crown Plaza now. That's where they were meeting. They had them staying overnight in a room, and then they was all getting on a bus to leave from there to go to the airport. So the day that he left, I remember we got up and we went to is a restaurant that was right there by the hotel. I wanted to eat as close to the hotel as possible because I wanted to spend as much time with him as I could, and I didn't want to have to rush, get up, from the breakfast, from eating breakfast, and have to rush. So we literally just had to walk out of the restaurant, and the hotel was right next door. So I mean, I could spend every second with him. That's all I kept thinking is, So I couldn't really eat all that much. I was just, my stomach was upset. I was nervous. I was, I could just feel all these emotions. And so I have pictures of, of him that day. And he looked like, my son had a baby face for the longest time. And he was taking pictures with me and his sister and his dad and everything. And so, of course, we went to the hotel next door. We parked where they had to go in. And we found out that we could actually go into the hotel with him. And we could stay. Once he checked in, he was able to come back out. And we could stay with him until, they came out and said everybody had to get their room assignment and all that kind of stuff. So we stayed with him up to the last, we had to leave. So that after we dropped him off, we went and did whatever we was going to do, went home. Eventually it became nighttime. I was aware that he wasn't there. And then the next day I was like, well, I guess, because I was looking at the time, and I said, I guess they're on the bus getting ready to go to the airport. And so my husband was like, yeah, reality is about to hit him real hard, because, even though my son, like before everything was finalized, he was going to the recruitment center, and he was doing PT with like some of the guys that have been recruited as like Navy SEALs and stuff like that. They let him come and work out and all that stuff. So he kind of got an idea of, what kind of physical activity was going to be required. But I don't think he really got the mental part of it. So go back to where I was. I was at home, and I remember my daughter, and y'all, I may have told the story, I don't know, but I remember my daughter was helping me move clothes out of this closet. I had my office upstairs, and I had an empty coat closet downstairs. So I remember we was moving clothes out of the closet, and I'm carrying my phone around, because I'm like, at any moment he could call, and if he calls and he don't get me, I don't get to talk to him until the next time he can call, and I don't know when that's gonna be. So at some point when we was moving these clothes, I messed around and set that phone down. Didn't remember where, and I realized this after I tell you what happened, but I didn't realize where I set the phone at. I had just set the phone down and wasn't thinking at that point. I was just like, my hands was full. There's no way I'm gonna be able to carry this phone. And my brain didn't process the whole point of me carrying the phone was because I was waiting on my son to call. So all of a sudden, it dawned on me that I didn't have that phone in my hand. And my daughter was, I think she was coming back upstairs. And when I put them clothes up in the closet, no, I went and grabbed some more clothes out of the closet, and she was coming upstairs to get the clothes. I almost knocked her down the stairs. And this is a nice steep flight stairs in my house. And at the bottom of the stairs is tile. So if she'd have got knocked down them stairs, there's a good chance she probably would have hit her head on that hard tile. Excuse me. So how that almost happened is because for some reason I thought I heard the phone ring, and it dawned on me I didn't have my phone in my hand anymore. And then it dawned on me I didn't remember where I sat it down. So I come flying out of the room, drop the clothes in the middle of the floor, almost knocked my daughter down the stairs. And my daughter said, "Mom, And I stopped, and it scared the bejesus out of me. And it scared me because I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't in the right mindset. I was just like, I just wasn't myself. And so then I thought about, I almost knocked my child down the stairs trying to run to get this phone. So obviously, at some point, once I kind of snapped out of it, I realized the phone was not ringing. That was in my head, but it was a cue to me to get my phone because I hadn't sat it down somewhere and I didn't know where it was. And I just kept saying to her, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, so there was 2 times my husband was with me and 1 time my daughter was with me. Okay, so this is the time that my daughter was with me because I just thought about it. My husband wasn't home. And I just fell to the floor and just lost it. I just lost it. I just lost it at the thought of not being able to hear from my child and almost knocking my daughter down the stairs. My brain was doing some of everything. And in my heart, I tell you, my son is living today. But that day, it felt like somebody had just called and told me my son had passed away. I felt like the pain that was in my chest was so enormous that it was bigger than anything that I could describe. The sadness that had come over me was unreal. I was just literally not myself because I was so focused on trying to make sure I didn't miss his phone call because I missed him so much. He's my firstborn, y'all. I had several miscarriages before I had him. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to carry him to term. He's my firstborn, and I love both of my kids, but this day was just more than I could handle. It was more than I could handle. And my daughter just grabbed me, and I'm telling you, I was crying to the point I was shaking. It was just a mess. And my daughter, she's always been like that. My daughter's a nurturer. She's a person that, especially when it comes to me, she's always been there to help take care of me. And I know that sounds weird because of my age, but I've had 6 surgeries, and she's always just like, when I had this is a ganglion cyst. I had one on each hand. This one came back, and I don't know if you can see the scar. You probably can't see it. It's not light enough for you to see it. But I had them removed from both of my hands at the same time, and she stepped up. I mean, when I tell you, I had it around Thanksgiving time. She cooked Thanksgiving dinner. She kept the house clean. She helped me bathe. She helped me in the restroom. I mean, she's just always been there. And she held me until I stopped crying, and she just talked to me and said positive words to me, and she was just really, really a huge support during that time. And she told my son, what happened and everything, and it was just a lot. And so anyway, I just say to you again, check on your people, because those who, it's not like they're fronting. That's not what this is. It's just that in certain moments, people who have a natural ability to keep it together, at some point they can't keep it together. They are strong for the people that they love and things like that, but they can't. Everybody has a breaking point. And so, you just want to make sure that your people are okay. You want to be there for them as often as you possibly can. You want to just, for them to know that everything is going to be all right. Because in that moment, when they finally lose it, it doesn't feel like everything is going to be all right. It feels like everything is coming to an end. It feels like a bomb went off. It feels like your brain exploded. It feels like everything is going to be all right. So that's all I'm going to say is just, check on your people. Make sure that your loved ones, regardless of whether they're family, friend, or foe, just check on them. And I used to say all the time, you know, when I prayed, um, and that's another story I'll have to get into with y'all later. Um, I was asked God to bless those who are connected to me by blood and by love. And the reason I say that is because you get to choose your family. You don't get to choose who your blood related to, but you get to choose your family. And so anybody that you love and that you've allowed to be, that you envelop, you know, they're your family. So I used to pray for God to bless those who are connected to me by blood and by love. So do that. Do that. Love on your people. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Um, I thank y'all so much for um, being here for me. I thank y'all so much for hanging in there with my channel. Those who are members, I do appreciate your membership. I appreciate your support and your love. Um, I have been pushing out content. I am straight tripping off of these reels and these shorts because yes, not I don't know what day it was, but one day I posted a reel and that sucker got 1,000 views and it hadn't even, I think, not 7 minutes. I forget how long the time. It wasn't even 30 minutes. 1,000 views in 30 minutes. This has been ridiculous. So I'm loving this journey. I never really posted shorts and all that kind of stuff, but once they say you can get paid for them, I'm already monetized on YouTube. But you know, this is helping, and I got invited to get paid for reels on Facebook. So I'm just waiting to see what TikTok and Instagram is going to do. I don't have a lot of followers on those platforms, but I'm trying to grow it. Um, so I will be doing, you know, kind of like a membership drive on all the social media platforms to try to get my numbers up. But thank y'all so much. We're going to get out of here, but y'all know we don't do so without saying love yourself, love somebody else, and until next time, y'all take care. Peace.